Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Careers. My name is Charlene Tasco, and I'm a Nova Scotia Works School Liaison who currently works with high school youth, grades 9 to 12. I'm a certified career development practitioner, and I'm really pleased to be here today to share some important information with you. While this program is normally delivered in person over 2.5 hours, and it's quite interactive, we know we can't be together during these unprecedented times. However, we still wanted to provide useful resources for all who are interested in learning more about where to start when thinking about career decision making. If you're following along with the sessions, today is part 2 of 4, Getting to Know Youth. If you missed the first part, you can always catch up on the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development YouTube page 1 week after each of the live presentations to watch the recorded versions. In today's session, I will talk about what influences youth today and how we can get them to start thinking about their natural interests and try to start matching their interests and abilities to occupations. I will also highlight a couple of really useful websites that have tools that can be used by students, as well as families and mentors who work with youth. I will finish off by going through a few useful tips for creating SMART goals with your youth. If you'd like to follow along in your learner's guide, I'm referring to pages 8 to 10, where you will see places you can begin to make notes as you start to visualize helping your youth with important career decision-making and employability skills. So just for context before we dive in, the career development wheel shown here is broken into 4 parts. In today's session, we're looking at the Know Yourself portion of the wheel in yellow. We're looking at values and interests, strengths, traits, and ambitions, and how they play into the career decision-making process. So how do we transition from interest to decision-making? What do you think influences youth today? There are many factors such as peers, social media, classroom education, family, music, and even religion, to name but a few. Do you think influences of today are much different than those from previous generations? You might want to give that some thought. When you consider this, do you think that these types of influences impact a young person's career decision making? Are the influences you considered when thinking about your own student one and the same with career decision making? Or do you think the influences are different? You will see in your guide on page 8 that these questions are posed, and you can jot down some notes to help you self-reflect. So let's think about what types of jobs are youth interested in. Do they align with their interests and abilities? How do you know? You can think about these questions and ask yourself if your youth is a thinker, someone who weighs pros and cons, steps back and analyzes consequences and remains objective. Are they feelers, considering others' supports, beliefs, and values? Or are they non-committal, let others decide, have a fear of failure and lack of confidence? And no worries if your youth is the bottom one, the non-committal. Lots and lots of youth are non-committed at this stage, and that's okay. There's so many possibilities for career pathways that youth may not have even considered, maybe because they haven't sat down to consider what they are naturally interested in and discovered the many occupation types that would match them. This is a good segue to talk about a couple of ways students and those who support them can begin to sort through interests and occupational matches. And I've just put some visuals up on the screen for you as a conversation starter with your own youth to have conversations about work preferences. So, does your youth prefer to be indoors or outdoors? Do they like to travel? Do you think that they would be interested in being their own boss? There are lots and lots of entrepreneurial supports for youth in Nova Scotia, that's for sure. Would they rather be independent, or work with a large team. Maybe they need to think more about shift work versus a 9 to 5 job. For example, in the medical field, doctors and nurses would work longer hours and they wouldn't necessarily be Monday to Friday, following that 9 to 5 day job type thing. And there would be consideration of working on holidays and weekends and things like that. So now we're going to talk about a couple of websites that would be of interest where you can look at career quizzes and interest inventories. The first one is called My Blueprint, and the second one is Job Bank Career Quizzes. These are two highly useful sites I would like to introduce you to, one specifically for students, and the other is open to the general population. Don't worry about copying these links down as they are in your learner's guide. I will note here that there is a variation in the first link from what you see in your learner's guide, and the reason is that there are a few ways to get into this site. The one you see here on the slide is the one I recommend if you're a parent, caregiver, or mentor, because it takes you immediately to a sign-up page that is linked by school district. So on your screen, you see what the screen looks like when you click on the My Blueprint link, if you're a parent or a mentor, etc. Just for context, it's used province-wide in schools. I know it's difficult to see, but I just wanted to give you a peek as to what the page looks like when you click on the link. You would look for your student's school district in the province, and then the next page you see is the login sign-up page. Here, you click on Sign Up at the top, and you will see a list of schools to choose from. Once you do this, the process is pretty simple in that you just enter in your information as the screen prompts you to. I wanted to make mention that if you are a student, the My Blueprint page looks quite different if they sign in at school using a Chromebook or log into their GNS PES school account from their phone or at home with a personal computer. There is a little blue icon with an M in the middle, like what you see here, on the main page. All they have to do is click on that icon and they are in. My Blueprint offers a wide range of tools to help students with career decision-making, job search, and employability skills. For example, there are a number of personality and interest surveys that, when are fully completed, provide potential matches for work options. Students can then match their interests to post-secondary education programs or by occupation type. They can view education programs by location and by school. There are also a number of really useful guides to help with budgeting, goal setting, resume building, scholarship information, and much more. Parents and other advisors can also gain access to My Blueprint with their own link, with students' permission, of course. And there is a link students can give permission to view their progress. This site is tailored to each student's personal information pertaining to their individual schools, meaning they can plot out their high school courses, ones they have taken, and ones that they think they might take all the way to grade 12. This also gives students another way to link their high school education to future occupations. If anyone has any questions about this program, you should really talk to your school counselor for more information or to troubleshoot this program, particularly as it pertains to course planning. However, if anyone has any immediate questions, my email will be up on the screen at the end of this presentation, and you can feel free to send any follow-up questions to me, as I also use My Blueprint. This second link shown here is open to the general public. You might be familiar with the provincial and federal job bank sites. If you follow the link that I just put up, you will come to this page. Then by clicking Learn More, you will drop down to a variety of career quizzes. Here are a few samples you might see as you get started. Similar to My Blueprint, these quizzes can help you with potential matches for career types. Disclaimer: These are tools, not be all and end all. Variances in output and availability of information is based on the website you used. So all that to say, you may find that your youth may go on to My Blueprint, do some of the career quizzes on that site, and get a bunch of different occupation matches, but they might vary a little bit with what you see on the job bank. And there's lots of other sites out there as well. These are just two of many possibilities. So that is not to say that there's no accuracy in these websites or these tools. They are just meant to be a starting point that links your interests, your abilities, your work preferences, all those kinds of things with some potential occupations that may use a variety of different skills that have some commonalities, which is why you might see um, a gardener and an occupational therapist come up. Now, I mean, that might sound outlandish, but I've heard of many examples of people coming and saying, but this doesn't make any sense. I have no interest in being a gardener. Why would that show up? Well, what the information does when you put it in is it looks for the common characteristics. So in a case of a gardener, and again, that's just a wild example to show the contrast, there might be things like, do you like working with your hands? Are you a practical hands-on kind of person? Um, there could be other commonalities within that make sense, but then you're going to have differences. But that's where the research comes in, and you have to do that more research given those examples and whittle it down a little bit more until you find some reasonable possibilities for yourself. So SMART goals, what matters to you? So how do SMART goals differ from regular goals? Well, SMART is an acronym in this case that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So the S would be, what do you want to do? The M, how will you know when you've reached it? A, is it in your power to accomplish it? R, can you realistically achieve it? And T, when exactly do you want to accomplish it? So looking at what can you let go and what is non-negotiable. So for example, again, this is in your user guide, page 19, you can look at an example of a regular goal being get a summer job. The SMART goal, however, would be to be very specific. So to secure a physical outdoor summer job that pays at least $15 an hour using a professional targeted resume by June 1st, 2020. Maybe it doesn't need to be as specific as that particular example. Maybe, as another example shows, the regular goal might be apply for college in the fall, whereas the SMART goal would be I will apply to 4 colleges by February 1st. So it's still giving you some accountability with a deadline, and it gives you a goal that's specific in terms of I'm going to apply to 4 colleges. So I also wanted to mention about additional supports. So I did talk about your school counselor, which is one and the same with the guidance counselor position. They've just changed the name this past year. Post-secondary recruiters, so college and universities very often go to high schools and visit them various times throughout the year, and there's people that you can connect with for more information. And of course, look at your own network, mentors, friends, family, and professionals. And of course, there's Nova Scotia Works Employment Centers. So anywhere you see this logo across the province, these are similar services that also help with career decision making, job search, skill development, and entrepreneurship, to name a few of the services. There are several sites across the province, so that's why I put this link up so that you could find out where your nearest Nova Scotia Works Centre is. I also just want to make mention that as it pertains to high school youth, um, if you are within 3 months of grade 12 graduation, you are able to visit a Nova Scotia Works Employment Centre and start an action plan, whatever that looks like for you. It could be that you just need some help with a resume. It could be that you need full-blown support with job search, or it could be that you still have no clue and you need some help. So that's for youth that are within 3 months of graduation. For any youth that are not in grade 12, they're not typically able to access Nova Scotia Works Employment Centres except if they are choosing to leave school for whatever reason. Maybe it's a necessity to work. There are a variety of reasons that this happens, unfortunately, but we want you to know that there are folks there that can help you, trained career practitioners, job search specialists, employment maintenance people that can help you with your goals if you leave high school prematurely. So, and that has to be either you've already left or you're just about to leave. And of course, you can reach out for help at that time. So that concludes part 2, getting to know your youth. I am pleased to give this information to you today. And so if you have any follow-up questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out at letstalkcareers@opportunityplace.ca. Thank you all and have a great day.